There's no crazy news today, so there's your warning. Feel free to get out of here. Some people complain that I'm doing the same exact damn thing every day. There's nothing crazy today. Feel free to get out. There's your warning. But the institutional ownership, it did increase significantly. We're going to go over those listings briefly. Job listings decreased by a fairly substantial amount. I'm going to go over why I'm not really panicking whatsoever there. And today I'm going to take advantage of a day like this where we don't have any crazy news to talk about and capitalize on something that I think is important. And that important thing is that the one thing that I've been right on throughout this entire channel's history, which was February, very early in February was when the channel was created. The one thing that I've been right on every single time since the inception of the channel is this right here, earnings reports. And I'm going to go over the reason why we're all invested in the company, or at least I am, right? Even if you own shares and you don't know this, at the end of the day, if you're holding long term, this is what you're betting on, essentially. I mean, this is whether you know it or not, whatever the hell you're doing, right? Sapphire, if that's why you're invested in, whether you're invested because you think it's a swing trade, whatever it is, it doesn't matter how you got into this. If you're holding for a while, you are betting on this money. To sum it up in one word, to be succinct and concise, it's money. It's all about that, and I want to go over why and how it's looking today. So in quarter three specifically, and we're also going to do a little bit of quotes. I'm going to go over some quotes, maybe, and I'm going to talk about a detail that I may have overlooked yesterday. I think that could be big for us. Very subtle, nothing crazy. And then sentiment change and nuclear energy. We're going to go over that stuff as well. Why I think that's important, and the technical analysis. This actually is an important thing today. 21-day SMA. We are above it now. I'm going to talk about what that means and how bullish that and what that means price-wise, stock price-wise, in the next few days, most likely, along with the Russell 2000, which has had some crazy movement recently. Starting off with the the institutional filings here. So 33% institutional ownership. Now, if we go down, you got a ton of NP filings today, and the effective day is not indicative of the file day. Of course, the transaction, they're not buying it today. Most of them are not, at least, but they are filing them today. That's the key here. However, again, I've been saying this for it seems like I'm just perennially saying this. Is this ever going to end? More institutions buying, holding, buying, holding, buying, holding every single time. And these recent ones, today and yesterday, I think a lot of these are just mimicking and attempting to track the Russell 2000, right? The IWM, the big boy filing right here, 6 million shares added by the Russell 2000. I do think that's kind of what's happening, but still, you can't deny, man, the institutions. Look at the averages. 958, 770, 733. All of these institutions are buying and holding. And if we go down here a little bit more, it's the same exact thing. And look at these guys buying in at future prices at $40. Look at that. That's beautiful, isn't it? Right? Hopefully that's the future price. But you get what I mean. These guys are buying and holding, risking a lot of their portfolio, right? Relatively speaking, with a company like this. And they're holding, they're risking it, man. They're with Bionano, they believe it. So, and I'll leave it with that for the listings today. Now, talking about this, I'll keep this one very brief. Basically, you decrease by 5 or 6 results, and I'm not worried about this at all. Sometimes they'll remove stuff and add stuff. It's really weird how they do it, but I'm not worried whatsoever. A new one is technical writer. You can pause it right now and read this. What this new potential employee for Bionano is going to be doing. Nothing really is jumping out to me. Now, what is jumping out to me is a detail that, as I said, I kind of overlooked yesterday. I think maybe it's pretty subtle. Don't be careful not to misinterpret me here. Okay, don't take me out of context, please. This is a subtle detail that you have to make some leaps and assumptions to kind of grasp. So if we read, there's 2 sentences in here that you have to understand. The first one is this: we believe the momentum of research that has been building will continue as more supporting data, that's the key, plural, more supporting data, not like one piece of data, more supporting data. For example, like the data we expect at the thing this week, which is the ESHG thing, right? Basically, this is the CEO, Eric Holman, of course. He expects there's going to be a continued momentum in the research space because of data that they expect to come out. Because as more supporting data is going to be released from around the world. What this implies, it's implicit here. It's inherently implicit that there's going to be more events with, to be word for word here and to be precise, there's going to be more data coming out. And that's okay. You may say, well, Brandon, whatever. I don't really care. It's the same old thing that no one gives a shit about the data that comes out. Well, maybe you will care when you read this sentence up here. Remember I said there was 2 sentences you need to understand this with? Groundbreaking research. He recently said, I mean, he's literally a couple sentences before he said, with the growing installed base of Sapphire in Europe, we've seen these institutions and their research teams conduct groundbreaking research to help demonstrate the potential utility of OGM as an alternative to traditional cyto methods. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I'm not trying to say that there is going to for sure be more events like what we're going to see, like literally tomorrow, I think it is, when it starts. I'm not trying to say we're going to see a ton of groundbreaking stuff and a ton of replicas of what tomorrow in the next few days at this ESHG presentation is going to be. I'm not saying we're going to see a ton of replicas of that, but what I will say is that I think there's a very high chance that we do see some sort of similar presentation and data coming out because of what he said here. He doesn't expect just one little thing to come out. He's saying he believes the momentum of research is going to continue because there's going to be several different publications and marketing events and Sapphire awareness and Cytopia presentations coming out. And you know, let's quote him, right? Let's be precise here. Are released from the world. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I know it's subtle. Feel free to click off. Again, none of this is like vital for your, you know, none of this is breaking news. Like yesterday, I considered yesterday's stuff groundbreaking and huge news. Today is not so much. But this is and now I want to go ahead and read a quote from the Q2 earnings report transcript. So right here. Q2, as we've talked about on this channel, Bionano in 2021 is on a trajectory to have the highest amount of revenue ever in the history of the company. Let's just be frank here. That's what it is. And this quote sums it up perfectly. Which is, we had 3.9 million on the quarter, which is 226% versus Q2 of 2020. And that's a record for any Q2 in the history of the company. Many people ask, and many people see the revenue. I'm sure you guys see them on the Weeble comment section and Yahoo Finance, whatever kind of dumb, ostentatious, pompous chats that you guys waste your time with. Right? Everyone does it. I do. Everyone's guilty of going on there and debating the bears when there's no point. When you guys go on there, I'm sure you've seen people saying Bionano doesn't make any money. Why are you invested in this? This is a shit. What is this? I mean, this isn't going to make you any money. The price to earnings, the price, yeah, the PE ratio is horrible. What the hell? One reason why the stock is trading this high is because we've seen insane numbers year to year and growth. Forget the numbers year to year thing. Growth is what I mean. Growth is what we've had, and we just broke the record for highest number of revenue in Q2 in the history of the company. You may think that's not much compared to the valuation. That doesn't justify it. Well, you have to factor in everything. You have to factor in the Sapphire is better than everything else in the world or what it does. The market here, think of it this way. If we sell a couple thousand Sapphires and install a couple thousand machines, it's over. We're going to $40 a share, $50, $60, $100, even higher than that maybe. I'm serious. All it takes is a couple thousand machines. That's how auspicious the business model of Bionano's is. And that's another topic for another video. But right now, let's read the rest of this. Okay, we also had a great performance in and this is the quarter. This is our CEO in the Q2 earnings transcript. This wasn't that long ago, right? This was 23 days ago. Okay, we also had a great performance in many areas of execution, seeing customers develop laboratory-developed tests based on optical genome mapping with Sapphire and obtaining accreditation for Sapphire-based LDTs in certain European markets, which was an important milestone for Q2. Some of that might not make sense. Think of it this way. Bionano has a product that is in a field where FDA approval will help. LDTs, okay, I'm not going to explain to you what an LDT is, but basically just think of it this way. LDTs is a way of helping us bypass the FDA approval dilemma. So, yeah, I can't really put it much more simply than that. This is good. This is great. And this is one thing that flew under the radar in Q2 is that we got, and I hope some of you remember me bringing this up. I brought this up so many times. This right here, the Q2 milestone. If it's going to go up, okay, let's go up here. Did I just go away? Okay, right here. Q2 accreditation of Sapphire-based LDTs for ALL, which is a muscular dystrophy disease, to my understanding, and FSHD in certain EU markets. Both of those are, I believe. Anyways, we got that, and that flew way under the radar. And I don't know why, because LDTs getting those accredited and especially in the European Union markets, That is a market where where those things are going to help us going to help the Sapphire to be used in diagnostic markets, man. Oh, people just don't understand. Right now, we're not even using diagnostics really at all. Once we start doing that, the market gets. I mean, the market. I don't know if it doubles or triples, but it definitely significantly increases in SAM, SOM, and TAM. Right, total addressable market, serviceable, obtainable, and sizable obtainable market. Okay, all of those, whatever fancy terms you want to use, man. The market gets higher for us, and the market share is only going to increase in the aggregate once we get more LDTs accredited and build more of them, the PLA codes. This is how we get it. This is how we get. This is our path to reimbursements and solving the FDA approval dilemma, like I always say. Okay, so that's what I'll leave you with the quote for quarter two. Now, talking about the reason why we're all invested. Okay, so earnings, right? This is the one thing. I doubt anyone wants to do this because it's just a waste of damn time, unless you really want to fact check me. I have been right on all of my earnings predictions. I didn't get it to the cent. I didn't predict the EPS at all. I just predicted the revenue numbers. Not numbers. I just predicted whether I thought it was more likely to be a beat or a miss. And every time for quarter four, quarter one, and quarter two, all of those earnings reports, I predicted a beat for each one of them, and I was right on each one of them. And this is the reason why we're invested, man. Let me pull up a chart here for you. Like I said earlier, if we get 1,000 sapphires sold, it's over. It's over, man. I mean, you're gonna be glad you stuck with BNGO during the during the times of death and carnage. You have to make your own decision whether you think it's worth the risk, whether it's worth the potential time that it could take for 1,000 sapphires to be sold. We are saying 2025. This is the base case scenario, right? If we go to the bull case, okay. If we go to the bull case, you're looking at I mean, it's only 1,000 in 2025, but still, you're profitable in 2023. We're going to be 5 billion, 10 billion market cap, 15, maybe 20K, maybe even way higher than that. But we will be making a ton of money as investors if we do get a couple thousand sapphires installed. You have to determine whether you think if it's likely enough for that to happen. The bull case scenario is $2 billion in 2030, and I have been right on each. And here's the here you go. I calculated several BNGO earnings possibilities. I'm not going to play these, but if you want to, you can go back and fact check me. But, you can just take my word for it, or you can go look at these. Here you go. May 9th, why we may see a huge revenue beat. And my base case scenario, my Reddit post, my calculations here was 4 million. This one was for the most recent earnings. That was about 23 days ago. 4 million was my base case. We got 3.9 million. So my point here is not to say, oh, I've been right on 3 out of 3. That means I'm going to probably be right for the next one. That means I'm going to for sure be right. No, absolutely not. But I do think it gives me a small amount of a little bit of credibility, you might say, right? Maybe, obviously, don't do a fallacy composition. I'm not trying to effectuate a fallacy composition. Absolutely not. Or assume, or, act like the history is going to predict the future. No, absolutely not. I can be wrong on all of my future revenue projections, but I just want to say that's why I'm here, man. The revenue is the most important thing, and that's what I'm most confident about Bionano. That's the best thing about the business, man. The Sapphire, until something else comes out in the market that's better than the Sapphire, I'm always going to be super bullish on it, man. It's better than all the alternatives in a market that is only had less than 150 sapphires installed, where there could be thousands. There could be tens of thousands of sapphires installed. We're talking about billions in profits in less than a decade from here. In less than 9 years. Yeah, less than 9 years from now, pretty much. I mean, maybe even 8 or 7 years if it's going to be the bull case scenario. Okay, 2029, 1.5 billion in profit. There you go. That's with this discounted cash flow model by Ragnaros. Thank you, Ragnaros, if you're there. If he still watches the videos for this projection. I think it's beautiful. This is why we're here, man. And I know I'm just saying the same old stuff, but okay, moving on though. Sentiment change and nuclear energy. So, but real quick, to recap this stuff, what I'll say is that revenue is why we're here. The Sapphire and the business model is why we are investing in this company. That's why I am. And you have to, I want to make the point that you guys got to find out for yourself. Do you think the Sapphire is likely to get this? Damn. I don't get texts ever. I have 0 friends. I'm not used to that. That's why. Okay, anyways. you have to ask yourself whether it is auspicious to hold the company for years or months. You have to, and how do you where's my epistemology? How do you understand what goes into that? The answer of that, you have to look at the Sapphire specs, and I have a whole section of that in the Sapphire deep dive. This is the due diligence thing. Check the must know BNGO information playlist, please, if you want to find out more about that. Completely free. I'm not doing a plug. This is free information for you. It's this document right here. You can go and actually look at this, and that's what you can do. You have to understand that we do have less false positives and that we are easier to use and not as esoteric. We're easier to implement. The workflow is cheaper. Higher detection rate of large SVs than anything else in the world. We're better. To put it in one word, we're better than everything else in the greater than 500 base pair SV detection. Simple as it gets. Okay, so now sentiment change. I wanted to just bring it up again that the sentiment right now for BNGO is changing. Once again, we're at that time where the sentiment is becoming more bullish and people are beginning to like the stock more, and there's more people saying this is good, I like it, I bought more. Please, guys, I hope if you're an OG on the channel, feel free to skip this part. Feel free to just go do something else. But you have to understand, don't let yourself get caught up in liking the stock just because we went up a little bit. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because this, I'm telling you guys, the only reason why people like the stock right now, a little bit. Wow, look at Astra. I guess their launch failed. But Bionano, people only like this thing if we go up. If it goes down, they don't like it anymore. The small amount of people that actually do the research and look at things like the damn Q2 earnings transcript after it's already happened, and the people who are looking at the news and looking at the filings, looking at the job postings, these are the kind of people that are actually going to be able to buy when you're going down. And these are the people that are going to be able to hold when you're going down. And they're the same exact people that make money in the long run. I want to give you an example here. I've given you this example several times, and I'm going to continue to, because it's a quintessential example of how a long-term investor makes money in the stock market long-term, man. I don't know what your guys' time horizon is. 1 year, a couple of years, 5 years, 20 years, even longer than that, right? I am thinking the next few decades for Bionano. At least the next decade, man. I don't see. I mean, I don't think it's my opinion that long read sequencing and PatBio and Illumina, these guys don't have a chance at greater than 500 base pairs. We'll see what happens, but this is what I see for Bionano over the next 2 decades. This is Illumina's chart at the start of 2000. They IPO'd about $14, looks like. They are now at $464. I think Bionano and the people who are going to research the company and be invested in them and understand what the company does and how it works are the people that are going to hold through times like these and buy more when we're down here and buy more on this wick down and not have any trouble with panic selling or giving into the FUD. These are the people that hold the people holding the company until times like up here or even here. Any of these points, if you bought in any time back in here, you're good. You're more than good, right? You're going up thousands of percentages. That's how you make money in the stock market, man. If you want a short-term trade, that's fine. It's absolutely fine. I do it all the time. I did it today. I did it yesterday. You know, I've actually been, as I've gone back to college, I've actually been doing more trading. But anyways, and then nuclear energy is the last thing I wanted to talk about. I was doing a lot of research, not a lot. I was doing a little bit. I read a lot of good articles today. I don't know, maybe three really good articles. Looked at some infographics on nuclear energy versus solar energy, and I am much closer to making a decision on Lightbridge and thorium reactors and nuclear energy stocks. Feel free to click off right now. But we are going to be doing more stocks in the future, and especially nuclear energy stocks. Very soon. Very soon we will be. Now, talking about the technical analysis for Bionano, the one thing, I mean, this is the only thing that I really have to say here. We went over a lot yesterday. We'll go over, or at least some. Today, I just want to go over the most important thing, which is we closed the day above the 21-day SMA, which was at 579. We closed the day at 588. And obviously, this is the last thing, essentially, not the last thing, but one of the last things we needed to get a bullish reversal. We already had the breakout above the descending resistance. Now we needed to be in bullish territory based on the 21-day simple moving average. Now we have that. And I also must say, chart pattern-wise and just historically, right now where we're at, let me maximize this for you. I feel like we are in a very similar position right now compared to, you know, this right now where we're at is very similar to where we were here. And this was the run up. This was the May 13th run up after the earnings day, right before earnings or the day of earnings. It was horrible, and then once earnings hit, it was awesome. We ended up going up 100% in less than a month, and then we started going down. We went way down. We set a higher low, but we are setting lower highs as well. This feels very similar. It feels very similar. Price action wise, we tested it at 21-day SMA for several days in a row before breaking, and we just had that break today. That is exactly what happened in this run up. So I don't know. There's definitely some similarities there. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but that's just me. I think maybe there are and my extrapolation here is we're in bullish territory from the price action perspective. It's going to depend largely on what high growth is going to do and what the markets are going to do, what the Russell is going to do. But Bionano is in a good spot right now from the technical analysis standpoint, in my opinion. Make your own damn opinion, do your research. And also feel free to click off and check out Newsweed, link in the description to their website and their YouTube channel. With that being said, man, thank you all so much. This is not financial advice. I will see y'all in the next one.